Zhiyun is releasing the AI tracker version of the popular Smooth 5S gimbal, and if you put them side by side, you'd actually struggle to tell the difference between one and the other. And you would imagine that a newer gimbal means a better gimbal. The question is it really? Now, this is a gimbal for someone that wants no restrictions of movement whatsoever. So any concept of a compact gimbal where you compromise on tilt range and the range of movements does not apply here. You can do any movement that you could think of, and that means that this is a larger gimbal than the average compact gimbal. So this is something worth bearing in mind. In terms of the actual design of the gimbal, how does it compare to the Smooth 5 or the 5S? And not much, to be honest with you. The buttons are in the same place, the layout is the same, the integration with the app has not changed, the way you operate the gimbal hasn't changed, you still have the LED light at the back on the roll axis, and the mounting mechanism is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. And you might ask yourself, well, what's different? What's the point of this gimbal? It's the AI tracking feature, because this gimbal comes with an AI tracker that is an improvement on the tracker that is within the CY app. And the great thing about this is that you can use it with the CY app or with your preferred third-party app, which is the way I like to use it, because I use Blackmagic and the image quality that I get is better than with the CY app. Does that mean that the CY app is no good? Absolutely not, because you get a free camera app that does absolutely everything that you need. It's just that in certain situations, I feel that the Blackmagic app gives you a little bit more depth and better image quality. Now, the AI tracker itself is very well implemented. It operates as every other AI tracker in the market. You do your OK sign and it starts recording, and then you can stop the AI tracker, reframe by doing this sign, and then re-engage, and the AI tracker will remember where your head is supposed to be in relation to the frame or the headroom. So in that regard, that's actually really good. This AI tracker is the main feature in this gimbal, and I'm gonna show you how it works by putting together a short little sequence. Nothing overly complicated, but you get a sense of what it can do. So the first thing is to mount the gimbal to a tripod, and it doesn't have to be anything too complex or too heavy. This is a lightweight freewheel tripod. It works really nice. The gimbal, in the grand scheme of things, is fairly lightweight. So the first shot that I'm gonna be doing is a wide shot, and I'm just gonna be walking from here and then onto the bench, and I'm gonna be leaving my rucksack there. And one thing that is really nice is the fact that the tracker is something that you can either use for selfie or the rear lenses. That's really nice. It's very easy to disengage and then pop on with the magnets. That's really cool. What is great about this as well is the fact that you can use your preferred third-party app. And this is another thing that is great about this gimbal, that even though you might be using a third-party app, you can press the record on the gimbal and it links up to the app and it starts recording. That's actually a tiny little touch that is actually quite nice. Okay, so we are recording on the Blackmagic app and we do the sign. So now it remembers where it needs to be. And let's just do some filming. Okay, so this next shot is a slightly lower angle. I have the smartphone with the tripod here. And this is one thing that I always say about gimbal manufacturers, that they suggest that you use the rear lenses when you do any type of quality filming, and they give you all these trackers, but there is no way of monitoring what it is that you're doing. I'm kind of guessing that this is doing the right thing. Okay, so that's definitely too high up. Okay, so now it's filming, and let's do the shot. This last shot is just basically the gimbal on a slightly wider shot and having myself pulling things from the camera back onto the tripod and going back and forth and see how the gimbal tracks. Okay, so you see, this is way too much headroom. I probably have huge amounts of headroom, so let's just stop it and bring it down. And now it's reframe and tracking me. Now, let's play the sequence and see what it looks like. This is traditionally the setup that I have to do when I do most of my videos. Zhiyun has done really good on the old saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm really pleased about that, because a lot of manufacturers, they try to improve their product, their gimbal, and in the process they end up messing the whole thing up. And in that regard, everything works as it's supposed to be. The functionality is spot on, the integration with the app works really well, the materials are actually really nice. This is an improvement over the 5S. You can still change the modes easily with the thumb. You can access the light super easy. You can access the menu by just pressing the button. The jog wheel is really nice. That's something that I always like about Zhiyun gimbals. It can handle a smartphone with a lightweight case, a lens and a filter, but if you start adding more weight, it's gonna struggle. I tried to put a freewheel telephoto lens, and after 30 seconds the gimbal just gave way. So there is a limitation there, but most people are never going to use more than a lens and a filter at most. So in that regard, it's totally fine. One thing that I really like is how easy it is to switch between horizontal and vertical. And yes, it means that you have to physically move the clamp or the mount from horizontal to vertical, but it will allow you to use the gimbal with no restriction whatsoever. And that's really good, because a lot of gimbals, they give you the ability to go quickly from horizontal to vertical, but in doing that, you lose a lot of the functionality. With this gimbal, you don't have to worry about it, because once you set it to vertical, it works really good. Now, Zhiyun gives you two apps with this gimbal. The ZY Camera app is a bit more basic than the Stackam, that is more geared towards more professional or advanced users. But the ZY Camera app takes full advantage of this gimbal, so you trade in one for the other. Personally, everything that I need to do, I can do it on the gimbal itself and then film with the Blackmagic app, which is always going to give me better looking image than the ZY Camera app. But if you are the kind of person that wants to work with an app that is 100% integrated with the gimbal, the ZY Camera app is everything that you need, and it comes free with the gimbal. Either way, you got the choice to do whatever it is that you want. Now, are there any negatives? Because the perfect gimbal doesn't exist, and this one isn't either. And the first one is the little tiny LCD strip that they have for the gimbal modes. I mean, they couldn't make it any smaller, really, even if they tried. And the problem is that it's still not enough on a bright sunny day, and you can't really see. And another aspect that I think is a missed opportunity is the fact that this being an AI tracking gimbal, this gimbal is aimed to solo content creators. So you're going to be using the real lens, which is the better lens of them all, and that means that you cannot see what it is that you're doing. What it would be really great is if they give you something like the DJI Pocket 3, where they make do with all of these buttons and it's all digital, and then you have a screen that you can flick from either horizontal or vertical that connects to the app, and that way you see what framing you have and whether you need to adjust the headroom more or less. But saying all of this, Zhiyun gives you a different app, the ZY Play app, and you can link it to the gimbal, and there is a section there where you can use the app as a remote control, and that way you can adjust every parameter in the gimbal. The issue I have with this is that even though it works really well, not everybody is going to have access to a second phone so that they can do all the changes as the other phone is mounted on the gimbal. So it would be great if they could offer an actual remote control so that you can then do this without having to have a second phone. I personally think a screen and a remote control are accessories or design features that people would be willing to pay good money for.